Today's video is going to be my introduction to grief and loss. I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a while now. If you go on my YouTube, my very first video was about losing my twin brother and the effects that that had on me in my everyday life. Kind of being part of a group that isn't well represented. Being an identical twin is already a low percentage of it as it is, and then making it even smaller that I'm one that lost his brother. Um, so I kind of want to make this video today because I kind of want to walk you through the loss that I've experienced in my life. And uh, even though all those things had a negative effect on how I grew up, um, I do want to let you know that there are ways of making and processing the loss to turn it into a positive in your life. Um, so first, my first loss, dealing with loss, was when I was 4 years old when I lost my brother. Um, I think losing somebody at that young age, you don't really understand what is happening. You don't really know how to understand or process loss. Um, all I knew was that my brother wasn't there anymore and I missed him. Uh, I never really understood why or how it happened. Um, I mean, I should say I saw him pass away and I saw him breathe his last breath, but I wasn't able to comprehend what it is I was seeing and what was happening. So it was hard to really move past it. I just knew afterwards that I was alone all the time, and I missed my best friend, and it made it very hard growing up because I was in foster care at the time, and the only piece of family I really had that was with me all the time was my brother. Uh, and so when I went to school, I didn't have my best friend, so that was hard to operate. Um, and if you watch some of my other videos, I didn't have the best dad growing up, so uh, being able to thrive after that happened was pretty impossible. And um, a lot of things happened in my life. Traumatic things happened because of it. I was bullied a lot as a kid because I didn't have the necessary skills to um, be a normal kid. As unfortunate as that is, those are things that have built me and gave me the character that I have today. So my loss just kept going and kept going. Um, if you hear me laugh, that's my coping mechanism. So just want to let you know that. So my second loss was my uncle on my mother's side when I was, I believe, 11 years old. Um, and I wasn't super close to him. He was a Vietnam vet, and it was kind of strange. My family all had pretty much spells with mental illness, so that pretty much ran rampant throughout my whole family. Uh, so my uncle was kind of a weird, kind of a hermit. So when he passed away, it was sad losing a family member, but I didn't really know him very well. Um, and then the next death was when I was 13. I lost my maternal grandpa. Um, and I met him a few times. And so when he passed away, again, I know he's family, but there wasn't really that connection with him like other people have with their grandpas. And just to rewind a little bit, my paternal grandpa died before I was born. So my only grandpa that I had died, even though there wasn't really a relationship there. So after that, uh, luckily there wasn't anything for a while. Kind of lived like a normal teenage life. But then when life really kind of hit me hard was when I was 21 years old. And I lost my mom. Uh, I lost her to breast cancer, and like I was talking before, I was in foster care because my family had mental health issues. My mom had severe mental health issues where she was uh, in institutions and group homes and all that. Um, so I had a very strange relationship with my mother, and I finally decided to become close to my mother when I was 20 years old. Um, I had a lot of resentment towards her for the way things happened with my brother and being in foster care. So when I finally decided to forgive her and put the past behind me, I got close to her, and then a couple months later, I got the news that she had cancer and that she had 6 months to live. Um, she had she wouldn't make it another three. Um, so that was probably the hardest moment of my life. I lost my brother at a young age. I didn't really understand what it meant. Being 4, you don't really know how to comprehend things. But being a 21-year-old, uh, losing my mom, I had a bunch of regret that I lived with. I remember just bawling, crying the day she passed away, and I would never wish that pain upon another person. I think what made it hard was being so young. Um, Again, not having the father I needed, and losing my mom, even though she wasn't the mother that most kids have growing up. She was still my mom, um, and that was in 2007. So it's pretty hard to believe it's been 18 years since she passed away. Uh, so I carried that with me for a while, and then my paternal grandmother died in November of that year. So my mom died in June. My maternal grandmother died in November, and that was really hard because I was really close with her. Um, we were poor growing up, and she always made sure that on Christmas there was at least one toy that I had. Um, this is a very sweet old lady. I used to go visit her all the time, and then she passed away, and that was hard. She had Alzheimer's at the end, so I was 21 years old, and she kept thinking that I was my grandfather. Um, so it's definitely an interesting way of kind of coming to terms with things at the end when somebody passes away and they're not the same person that they were the entire of the life that you knew them. So move forward. That was November. My maternal grandmother died in January of 2008. She was in a group home, and she passed away from one of the doctor or one of the orderlies gave her food that she wasn't supposed to have, and she choked to death. So in a matter of 7 months, I lost all my grandparents, and it was just hard to move on at that point. I was dealing with a lot of depression. A couple years earlier, I joined the Army, and that didn't work out. Um, and having everybody pass away kind of like put a major thorn in my side and made it hard to kind of carry on. And then about 2 years later, what I called my uncle, who was actually my siblings, my older siblings' father, I called him uncle, and he was always there for me when I was a kid, kind of like a second father or a father I wish I would have had. And he passed away, and that hit hard. So like he was the one positive male role model I had in my life, and he passed away before I was 23 years old. So basically, 23 is kind of what was the year that really changed who I was. So at that point, I was just kind of floating through life. I didn't really have anything going for me. I barely graduated high school. I graduated in the summer, went to basic training, flunked out because of a girl, and life was just kind of going nowhere for me. And then I decided to enroll in college, and I wasn't a good student in high school, but I was fortunate to become a good student in college. I had a whole new sense of purpose for when, after everybody passed away. Up until that point, I didn't really have much faith in God. But I think after all those people passed away, I wanted to believe that they all went to a better place, and that they were happy, and there was something at the end, and it wasn't just them going into the void. So I used my deceased family members as a motivation for me moving forward in college. I believe they were all looking down over me during those years, and I believe they're still looking down on me today, protecting me. And yeah, I mean, I think after people pass away, it's really easy to fall into the depths of the darkest parts of yourself, and it can be really challenging to get up and pull yourself out. I've seen it with so many people where somebody passes away and they're never the same person again. I tried to take a different approach on life. I would like to think that they all passed away because they wanted me to, that once they passed away, they wanted to see the family move on and go forward and become something great. Um, so I've used that as a motivation in my life, especially my mom. Um, my mom didn't even know I went to college. She never knew I had a son. She never saw me graduate from the military. Uh, and all these things were tremendous motivators for me, because I knew that she was looking down on me and I wanted her to be proud. Just like I wanted my grandfathers and my grandmothers and my uncle. Um, I wanted them to be proud of me too. Uh, so I guess I just want you guys to know that if you're dealing with grief and loss, that things, you can put a positive spin on it to move forward in your life. Um, I don't say positive as like to say that it's good that they're gone, but I'm saying that it's a positive that you can use it as a motivator to kind of push yourself forward in life. Um, I would say that the hardest parts were the anniversaries. So with my mom, the hardest parts were like the first birthday, the first anniversary of her death, Christmas, Easter, all those holidays that you would normally see your parents. Those were all hard to deal with. Um, and so I guess another one that was hard to kind of process was when I finally did have a son. Um, my like I said, my brother died when I was 4 years old, so like I think I PTSD from when my brother passed away. So uh, like the whole time until my son turned 5 years old, I had these like nonstop, constant fears that something was going to happen to my son, that he wasn't going to make it past my brother's age. So that was a really hard milestone to work past. Luckily, I've been in therapy on and off for my whole life, so there's times where things become too hard. I lean in on therapy. Um, I have a really strong relationship with God these days, but again, the relationship with God doesn't replace actually fixing yourself with therapy. So um, I have a good relationship with God. I believe that my family are all in heaven and that one day I'll see them again. And when they see me, they'll be proud of the man and the person I become. They'll be proud of the father I am. They'll be proud of the soldier I am. They'll be proud of the hard work and dedication I put in life to be successful. So um, at the end of the day, if this video helped you a little bit, um, please leave a comment below. Please let me know a family member or a friend or somebody that passed away in your life that has brought you motivation to strive and move forward and become the best version of yourself. So I appreciate you guys watching. Uh, Again, I would love to connect. I would love to make future videos for topics you guys have. If you have any other questions, please drop them below. Please consider subscribing. I hope you guys have a blessed day.